What is the feedback of your customers concerning the integration of the games? It's a very good question because it wasn't questioned 1 year ago. Nobody cared, right? Everybody was integrating APIs from different software providers without even thinking what they were integrating. Since then, we all found out as a community that these APIs were not secure. So we are the old companies, the old players, the veterans, that have secure APIs. They're not at the level of the banking industry, they're not PCI compliant, but they have authentication system, they have retries, they have rollback, they have reconciliation, they have tokens, okay? You can't just log in there. You need to have authentication, okay? You need to have credentials, right? We found out that in many of the new software providers API, we didn't have these systems in place. No authentication, no token, no session, which means that the fraudster, the hacker, doesn't even need to open up the game. He just needs to log into the endpoint of the API without any credential and simulate, put a bet without having any money on any account because he doesn't have. And repeat in a loop and win. Take this million or two, funnel it through other software providers and take it out. Now what they do is they target huge operators that are making 3, 4, 500 million GGR per month, and they take 1 million per week. It's a silent bleeding. 1 million per week is 50 million per year. And these operators, they don't see it because the money is withdrawn, is generated of different software providers, funneled through a lot of other software providers where the operators has to pay invoices on the GGR that has been generated there. Okay, so the fraud and finance team can't see these fraudulent winnings, okay? And then just withdraw it, 1 million or 2 per week. Within hundreds of millions that are played there, that are withdrawn there every month. So you don't see it. It's a silent bleeding, okay? And the only way to prevent that is to have a very good system that's going to monitor it, but that's a passive way. An active way to do it is stop integrating faulty APIs from new software providers, which focus is building good games, but who don't have the knowledge, neither the necessary dedicated team to perform this integration. And I will even go further. If we look at ourselves, we're an operator which developed an internal aggregator 10 years ago. And we were doing the same thing. We were integrating all these APIs. We were a Babel tower. We were speaking 50, 100 different languages. We were speaking native language, play and go language, pragmatic language, and integrating the API and upgrading them every then and so. Now we do the opposite. We notice that the newcomers are like 5 years old toddler. They don't have the proper grammar. They don't have the proper vocabulary. We're not going to learn the language. We've learned the proper language from the old ones. Now what we're doing, and they still have legacy codes. Now what we're doing, we're teaching them. And we're teaching them by giving them our API. We don't integrate them. They integrate us. They integrate our language. The token, the authentication, the retry, the rollback, the reconciliation, all these concepts that they're not familiar with. And some of them they're telling us, we don't need that. It's okay, let's go live, because we can't do it. We explain that they need to learn how to do it, because otherwise we're not gonna go live. And there's many small providers we're not going live with because they don't have not only the knowledge, they don't even have the knowledge to do it when you explain it to them, because we give them our API. And for them, it's complicated to change their system. But if we let them do that, the operator is going to have an open door in their system directly to their bank, directly to the balance of the player, where any hacker can log in without credentials and take the money out. So the specificity of Alea is to have identified this problem very early on and to have taken a very strong approach towards these new software providers to force them use our API, to force them use our language. And it's a very difficult approach because most of them don't understand, are not capable of doing it. It slows down the integration, but we consider it is crucial to have secure APIs because our gaming industry, in the core of our operations, we have games, and games are ruled by APIs. So we need to make sure that these APIs are at least as secure as the banking APIs. And you have big companies like Continent 8 that are explaining that today the problem is not the DDoS attack anymore. It's the API acts of third parties providers. So not the banking one, because they're very well protected, more the CRM one, where you're going to have your database that's going to be stolen. That's bad. You have your data player that's stolen, but the worst is the hack of your game API, because you have virtually money that is being printed and taken out of your bank account, right? So what we are developing now is a standard, and what we are developing and promoting now is API governance within the gaming industry, where we want to force all software providers to use our API and to be sure that this is controlled. Because our customers today, when they don't use us, they still continue integrating these new software providers. They don't have the knowledge to develop their own API. So even when they have the team, they integrate these software providers. They don't have their own APIs to force them to do it. And that's a crucial point that on which I want to emphasize. If you should work with a technological partner as us, and if you don't, and if you're big enough, you should have your own dedicated team, dedicated to integrations, because you don't want your rockstar developers to work on APIs. They don't like that, okay? You want to have API developers working on APIs, and you want the knowledge to be kept in that team, and you want them to develop the language, your own API, which is going to be given to the software providers, so they integrate you so you can get their games, and not the other way around. That's the main message here.